what's up, Bakersfield, Kern County, and the rest of the world? This is Scott and Marshall here with a valid answer. I'm Scott.
And I'm Marshall.
And how you guys doing? I'm the pastor, and he's the heathen.
Right?
Right? That's okay that I can say that, or is that rhetoric? That's probably rhetoric. I should probably say non-believer.
It's okay.
But so if I say non-believer, doesn't that automatically?
I'm not offended. I'm a snowflake, but I'm not offended.
Right, but like if I say you're a non-believer, doesn't that already, like the term already assumes that believer should be the normative, right? So if I say call you a non-believer, it could mean that, well, everybody's assuming what believer is.
Yeah, I guess you could argue that, but it doesn't bother me either way.
Okay.
So.
All right. So here, let's. Today we're talking about, because this is being broadcast as July 1st. It's 3 days before the 4th of July. So we're talking about Merica. That's apostrophe Merica. America. Yeah.
Not
I can't
Mercia,
spell.
Merica.
Merica. No, not Mercia. Yeah. So apparently I can't spell either. So.
Not an ancient state in what is today modern day England or the UK, but yeah.
I'm not able to pull us up. I'm trying to pull us up on Kerncast.
So anyway,
go ahead and
the 4th of July is coming up.
Give us a little bit of this. Now, Marshall, for those of you, most of you probably know, but Marshall does have a degree in history.
I do. You do like talking, don't you?
Yeah, but I want to say, I didn't interrupt him. So with your degree in history, give us a little bit, summarize a little bit, what is the 4th of July? Why do we think we celebrate it, and what did it start off as, and what does it become?
Well, I think I slept through that day in class. But the 4th of July is, I think everyone knows, it's the United States Independence Day. We celebrate actually the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And actually, I think it was probably signed like the day before or something like that. I mean,
yeah.
There's this sort of these little factoids out there. Well, the Declaration of Independence wasn't actually on July 4th or whatever,
Christmas, Jesus wasn't born on December 25th.
Yeah, all that little stuff.
Details.
The bottom line is, this is the day when Americans in the United States and the hundreds of thousands of American troops stationed in military bases around the globe celebrate the fact that we all won the birth lottery and we happen to be born in America. And, we are very much the world's wealthiest and most powerful nation on the planet.
And because of that, we're evil.
Not necessarily. That doesn't inherently make you good or bad.
Okay, I'm glad we got that established.
The problem is,
I'm sure there are those out there who would
power.
say, if you're rich, you're evil.
No, if you're rich, it doesn't make you evil, right? If you use your wealth to develop, your community, to take care of people, as I think the Bible even talks about this, doesn't talk about having the talents and investing those talents.
Exactly, and I was gonna just add on to that. I'm joking about how being rich makes you evil, but at the same time, I mean, even biblically speaking, Bible says it's nearly impossible for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven, because the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So
Correct.
It's so easy. It's easy to be corrupted when the more wealthy you are.
Right. And so if the United States, if we used our power and our influence and our wealth to actually make the planet a better, happier, more healthy, more egalitarian place where people actually have inalienable rights, if we took the documents created by the founding fathers and we really did take those ideals with us overseas, which, by the way, those are some of the most genius documents ever written in human history.
Okay, keep going. I'm curious where you're
if we
going
could
with
do this, then I think it would make me very proud to be an American. And there are a lot of achievements that we've made in the past. We defeated communism. We defeated fascism. Right? We have our Constitution has been used as a model for many other national constitutions.
Okay.
These are things for which we can be proud.
But is the world in a better place because of the existence of America?
That's a great question, and
that's
there's
what I'm
no
asking
way
you.
I could answer that.
Well, I'm asking you your opinion.
Well, it's
from what you've seen through history,
in some ways, yeah. I mean, think about it. Think about the fact that we've nearly eradicated polio, we've eradicated smallpox, and that wouldn't have been possible without the United States spearheading those initiatives to do that. The fact that technological advancement all around the globe. You know, I mean, we've wired up the whole planet. We've connected everything. A lot of these advancements have come from the United States, and they are a sign of American exceptionalism.
Okay.
You know, and we have the right to be proud of these things. But we are not the only people. We are not the only civilization.
Good. Are we the only ones
to contribute to the world and the quality of life in the world?
Are we the only country in the world that celebrates its Independence Day?
No.
Okay.
No, pretty much
so
every country on the planet.
Celebrating our Independence Day is not necessarily celebrating how we won the birth lottery. It's literally celebrating our country.
Well, if you are celebrating the positive, the good, then I'm all about that. And I really do appreciate that, and that's fine. And I think it's okay to celebrate that.
I tried to find an American flag to put up behind us so we could broadcast, but
there is a downside to America.
Emilio says, but on the other hand, the U.S. has been responsible for a few atrocities.
A lot of atrocities.
Which ones?
Well, let's see. We dropped the atomic bomb twice on civilian targets. You know, so that's an atrocity right there.
They were military targets.
No, children are never military targets. So I don't want to get into that if I can avoid it. But, you know, when you take a look at how we fail to live up to the ideals established by the Founding Fathers and the way that we interpret those ideals today, we have to also understand the Founding Fathers talked about a society in which all men were created equal. That statement did not apply to women at the time. It did not apply to ethnic minorities. It did not apply to a whole range of people. Since then, we have sort of reinterpreted that phrase or reimagined it to apply to everyone universally.
Yeah.
But in spite of that common understanding, we have not lived up to that ideal.
You don't believe that it meant mankind?
Which I don't understand your question.
When it says men, that means mankind, because in so many places, even throughout history, the term men has been used for mankind.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with the language per se. I'm sure that there is a feminist professor who could really critique our use of that word and so on. And that would probably be a valid critique. But I'm not going to hang up on that alone. I'm talking about the fact that in very real and distinct ways, we do not live up to our promises or the ideal of being a land of liberty, a land of freedom, a land of equal opportunity in which all people are treated equal, in which all people have freedom. You look at the way we treat immigrants, you look at the way we treat minorities, you look at the way we still treat women, you look at the way that we have income inequality in this nation. You look at the very government itself, which is really a socialist government, in my opinion. We have socialism, mind you, not for the people, but for the rich. You look at the corruption in our republic and the fact that the people's voice is barely even audible in the halls of Congress. You look at that, and you look at the fact that as of Tuesday, June 26, 2018, that's just 1 week ago, according to New American, which is a publication, and it says here, every 12 minutes the United States drops a bomb somewhere. If you have to drop a bomb somewhere every 12 minutes on the planet, you're doing something wrong. We have troops stationed in 150 nations around the planet.
That is a very interesting way of interpreting a statistic.
Are we doing something right that we have to bomb people every 12 minutes?
We're not bombing people every 12 minutes.
Well, according to this article, we are.
No. What that article is doing, again, going back to last week, talking about fake news, what they're doing is saying, okay, so we dropped this many bombs last year.
Right,
then
they're averaging it out.
We're not literally dropping a bomb every 12 minutes. Probably drop 500 bombs in one afternoon, and then they average that out. That's every 12 minutes. One attack, one located attack for a specific purpose was done here, and then they spread out that statistic and say, see, look, every 12 minutes we're dropping a bomb.
So does this somehow make it better?
You know what? If there is a legitimate target that needs to be hit, if there is something that has to happen,
legitimate target.
Yes.
Okay.
A legitimate military target that needs to be hit for a reason that generals have determined, and they drop so many bombs. This article is saying, well, we've dropped this many bombs. They're not telling you how many were dropped in each spot. They're not telling you how many times it was dropped.
Okay.
They're averaging it out to get an emotional response like you had to say every 12 minutes that we're dropping a bomb on somebody, because saying we drop a bomb every 12 minutes has a different connotation.
Okay, so the sum total is 44,096 bombs last year. How is that in any way, shape, or form?
How many of them were?
How many of them were not have an emotional response?
How many of them were in Syria?
I don't know.
You probably should find that out if you're going to use that as a statistic to back your argument.
They were dropped on planet Earth. Most of them dropped on people. Many of them dropped on people. This is not a good thing. Even if it's one bomb dropped on Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden, there is no scenario where that is good. It might be justice.
Okay, so justice isn't good?
But that is not necessarily a good thing. At what point our foreign policy creates enemies, and we are creating enemies at such an astounding rate that we have to drop over 44,000 bombs a year on them and their targets, their infrastructure, their homes, their bases, whatever it is it may be.
So you suggest we shouldn't drop bombs?
This is not a good thing.
You're suggesting that
at what point every bomb dropped represents money that is not available to build schools, to build infrastructure, to clean the water in Flint, Michigan.
What is your answer?
That's a tragedy.
Hold on. So here's what I'm trying to figure out. You're saying America would be great if it would spread its greatness around the world. So if there's evil in the world and we fight it, aren't we not spreading our goodness over there? Or you don't want us to fight it, so we need to let evil exist, let evil and all that kind of stuff happen. We shouldn't step in, we shouldn't drop bombs, but yet you still want us to spread goodness.
What is evil?
That's fine. That's
subjective,
same thing. Amelia
right?
was asking, who's to say what's a legitimate target? That's a good question. But
Right.
I'm saying, so you're saying there are no legitimate targets and there is no evil that's worth fighting.
I'm not saying any of that. What
You're
I
saying
am
we shouldn't be
trying to
dropping
say,
bombs.
what
You
I am
said
trying to say is that if we have to drop 44,000 bombs a year, that's a lot different than saying we're dropping one bomb here or one bomb there.
Hold on, but what you're
And even one bomb is bad.
Finish what
but
you're
if
saying.
you're dropping 44,000 bombs a year,
There's something
that's
wrong
a
with
sign
us.
of something big.
Something
That's
wrong with
big.
us?
Probably.
Not something
Probably.
wrong. Not something wrong with where the bombs are being dropped.
It's a combination, certainly.
Okay.
You have to understand that the world is, in many ways, the world is a mess because of our foreign policy. Why do you think people are coming here in droves as refugees, trying to escape the countries where they live? Partly because of our foreign policy. Why do you think so many people are fleeing Syria? Partly because of our foreign policy in the Middle East.
What was our foreign policy that led to Syria?
Well, the fact that we basically, first of all, we helped to create ISIS. We had in our custody, in American custody in Iraq, Abar al-Baghdadi, however you say his name, the leader who established ISIS. We released him.
Who released him?
We also released, the United States released
Under
him.
what presidency?
I think it was the Bush presidency. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. Okay.
At
what point we are bombing sovereign states that do not want us to bomb them, that is a problem.
And we bombed Germany, that was its own sovereign state.
How many ISIS
in
attacks took place in the United States? As far as I know, 0. There were some that were where you had sympathizers who attributed their atrocity to ISIS. But as far as I know, there were 0 ISIS attacks
What's
in
your
the
end
United
game?
States.
America does nothing?
I'm not necessarily saying that. What I'm
are
saying
you
is
saying? You're
am
trying to
saying
have it both ways.
We have to do some soul searching. As individuals and as a nation, we have to do some soul searching and say, we have this amazing, powerful, technologically sophisticated, incredibly wealthy state. Mm-hmm. We have over 320 million people who live here. There is tremendous power behind that flag.
Yes.
How should we express that power? Should we be expressing it through 44,000 bombs a year?
That's a very good question. Should we be expressing
44 million tons of food aid or some other
because we send food aid and the warlord takes it and steals it, and it never gets to the people. Should we not drop bombs on that warlord?
Maybe not.
Okay, so then we shouldn't send the food so the warlord gets it.
Maybe not.
So then we don't send food and we don't send bombs. We just let it happen.
I don't know what we do.
So you don't have an answer. You just know that America's wrong.
You're creating.
You just know that there's a problem with America, but you don't know what the answer is.
You're creating a scenario where you can then say whatever you want. What I'm saying is we have to do soul searching. We have to find our soul as a nation.
We have to do a bunch of navel gazing and not actually do anything, is what you're saying. Let's just look at ourselves.
So
and
what
soul
should
search.
we? Is all action good? So we should just act
Not all
without,
action is
without
good, but
doing
apparently
soul
inaction
searching?
is good, according to you.
I don't know. Inaction could be better, but we don't know because we're not doing any soul searching as a nation. We're just reacting. Oh, look, there's a terrorist over there. Quick, lob a bomb. Look, there's a warlord over there. Lob another bomb. Really? Is this really a sign that we're doing things the way we should be doing them?
You really think that those situations are happening without people thinking through it?
People are thinking through it, but you and I, the American people, our voters, are not thinking through it. How many of you out there, I would like to know, how many of you know that there are more than 150 nations in the world with a U.S. military presence? Did you know that the United States military is so widely distributed around the globe? Every single veteran that I know, actually, that would not be true. There are a few I know of, but almost every veteran I know has served overseas.
Mm-hmm.
At least for several months. They've been stationed overseas.
That's pretty
Why
typical.
is overseas service synonymous with being a veteran? It's because we are an imperial power. We have spread our imperial might all around the globe, and we have to maintain a strong
Define imperialism,
and
because
robust
I define
military
imperialism
presence
because
to
I feel like
maintain our economic superiority.
okay, I see that. So
Okay.
again, I'm trying to. I look at it as imperial. I don't see us conquering nations, setting up our flags, and saying this is now America.
There
I
are
don't see
different ways to conquer.
Okay, so define that, because that's where I keep getting tripped up on. Everybody keeps saying imperial. I go, I don't see us conquering nations. I don't see us going in. I mean, Japan is still Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Japan, that's not the United States. They have their own place in the UN. These countries still are sovereign. They're their own sovereign countries. Make their own choice. Yeah. Oh, so I'm sorry, Japan. I guess you're not really a sovereign country. He's saying.
No, they're not. They weren't at the end of World War II.
And they're not right now.
Well,
They're not their own sovereign nation.
I would like
Germany
to
is
see,
not its own
I
sovereign
would like
nation.
to see Iraq decide to become a communist country.
Well, let's see if
What
they
do you think would
let-
happen
let-
if Iraq
hey,
said we're going to
what-
go full-blown communist?
What if Iraq, who's to say Iraq isn't going to turn around like Japan and Germany did in 20, 30 years and become who they are?
That'd be great.
Because they were freed from the terrorism that was running their country. Because they were freed from the dictators.
Nice.
But you want to make a judgment on it before it happens.
The thing is,
You want to you look at our track record and say, man, our track record is so horrible because Japan and Germany are still United States. Oh wait, no, they're not, are they?
okay,
So our track record isn't bad, is it?
well, I don't know. Our track record might
Korea?
actually be horrible.
Korea, the only one that didn't work was Vietnam because we left. South Korea.
Yeah, and actually, Vietnam's probably better off in spite of us now.
Cool. Now,
I mean, look
Hey,
at the clothes we're wearing. This very
so-
shirt probably made in Vietnam.
okay. So Vietnam compared to South Korea, compared to Germany, compared to Japan.
Well, those aren't the only conflicts we've ever been engaged in.
Those
We've
are
been
those are
engaged in
countries. Those are
conflicts all
countries
around the
that we
world.
those are countries' armies that we defeated. Helped with the UN. Helped set them up as their own countries, and now they are their own sovereign countries.
because
our
we
past
won-
shows that we can be trusted with that power.
Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, the winners write the history, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think we talk about? Well, we talk about World War I, we talk about World War II, we talk about Korea and Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about failed U.S. attempts at managing all these other smaller countries in the world. For example, you barely hear any mention of the Bay of Pigs. You don't hear anything about what the United States did in Latin America, especially during the 80s. Whoever talks about the Iran-Contra affair anymore, I never hear about it. There was literally a coup in Guatemala last month, and part of that is the product of American involvement. And you have all of these little tiny failed countries, or you have countries around the world who are dominated by the United States, where we basically dictate to them how it's going to be. So they have their own flag. They elect their own leaders. They have their own customs and their own currency and so on. But I would challenge the nation, does Syria yet come to mind, to say we're going to repudiate the United States. We are going to sell our natural resources such as our oil to Russia or to China or to someone else, and we want nothing to do with the United States.
If they were to do that, you think the United States would invade them and take them over?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat, depending on how important that
Because
resource was
because
to the
of what
United
evidence?
States. Because of, well, let's take a look at Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Where were the weapons of mass destruction? They never existed.
And we invaded them and took them over.
Twice.
We invaded them and took them over.
Twice.
They are part of the United States.
No, but
okay, so we didn't take them over.
We hold them on a pretty short leash now, don't we? We conquered them twice. We conquered them. We overthrew their government.
And they're
we
Americans
forced them
now.
to capitulate the first time. No, they're Iraqis now, but that doesn't mean that we didn't put our heel on their throat. We told Iraq how it was going to be. We set up their government after the fall of Saddam Hussein, the government they still have today.
Mm-hmm.
There are many people in Iraq who do not like this. Oh, well. Vae victus, woe to the vanquished, huh?
Well, when they want us to leave, we left, right?
We're still there. We are still there. We still have a military presence in Iraq. So, anyway... Look,
that's good, Emilio. Hamas was voted into power democratically, and now we don't want to do business with them because we didn't vote. Did we go and invade Hamas?
No, they're in Lebanon.
Lebanon?
But we tried.
When?
In the 80s.
No.
Remember
Hamas, this
Beirut?
This is recently, Hamas. He's talking about recently. I say, since this has happened, have we gone in and invaded them?
Oh, I guess it's okay. We haven't invaded the Middle East since, what, the 80s? No.
I'm just saying, this happened. And as an example, this happened, and we no longer do business with them. Well, when that happened, did we invade them?
We do business with Israel, and Israel is striking back at Hamas.
Right, but is Israel invading Lebanon?
Well, they're dropping bombs. They're
because because they're firing back.
Yeah, there's a war going on. There's literally a war.
So you're saying Israel would
who started it, right? Do we need to get into that?
Yeah, who started it?
We're here to talk about America.
You want to go back to that?
We're here to talk about America today, right?
Yeah.
And my point behind all of this is there are reasons why we should not get too excited to be Americans.
Why?
Because we are not living up to our own ideals.
Because we're not perfect, we can't celebrate what we're good at. Okay, I understand, but because we're not perfect, we can't celebrate what we are doing good.
We can celebrate what we do good. We sure can.
Can we celebrate?
We sure can.
Can we celebrate that across the world there are few countries that have done what America has done for the world?
I see what you did there.
America's not the only one.
What has America done for the world?
You already talked about all of it.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
America has brought that. America has brought prosperity across the world.
We've brought a lot of good to the world, but we've also brought a lot of bad. We brought a lot of pain and heartache and suffering, and we're still dishing it out on a daily basis. So it's okay to have pride in your nation, I feel, but it needs to be healthy. It needs to be tempered with an understanding that if you are truly a patriot, you will not rest until this nation starts to do a better job, of living up to its ideals and what we aspire to be. What we claim to be is not what we are. And until there is congruence between what we claim to be and what we are, I am not going to be happy.
Wow. You'll never be happy. Are you never happy?
Sorry.
Hold on.
I should say satisfied.
I was going to say, are you never happy with your children until they're perfect?
This isn't about my children. This is my nation.
I know, but I'm just saying.
My children enjoy no strings attached, or what do you call that? There's no unconditional love. My nation does not enjoy that. I do not have unconditional love for the United States.
Why not?
Well, if the United States commits atrocities, am I supposed to also love it?
If your child murders someone, will you still love your child?
Yes, because it's my child. I produce that child. I am responsible for that child. I raise that child. But the nation, my influence is very tiny compared to my child.
That's a good reasoning for that, as for the influence that you have on it. Okay.
So Scott, I took the mic. I've been ranting a bit.
No, that's kind of what I wanted. That's kind of what I wanted on this, because I still feel. And again, I look at it and say, yes, there's always places to improve. There's always things to grow, and we need to move that. But at the same time, I feel that a lot of times, so many people, I get this feeling that so many people are so anti-America in America that they lose sight of what there is to celebrate. The good that America has done throughout the history of America, and even to this day, of all the things that we do that we don't, that America doesn't get credit for, that even just dumb things like there are no other countries when they go to war, they just carpet bomb everybody. You know what I mean? Like when they go to
well, they're certainly not as surgical about it as
right.
we are.
Why are we surgical? Because we want less collateral damage.
Mm-hmm.
An evil existence
the best
wouldn't
way
care.
to do less collateral damage is to not drop bombs in the first place.
That's right, but that's not always available as an option. So we've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars developing weapons so that we can still do what we need to do against evil and take less innocent life in doing it. Mm-hmm. What other country has developed weapons like that?
Well, again, you're using evil, which is, I just want to put the asterisk out there, subjective term. There are other countries who are developing those types of weapons. Certainly the Russians and the Chinese both very much trying to develop surgical accurate weapons, because precise weapons aren't precise just because we want to limit collateral damage. They are precise because we want to hit exactly what we are aiming at. And in the modern day of fortifications and hardened targets, sometimes the weak spot on a target is in a very precise location. So yes, we like to tell ourselves we developed the JDAM, which is a satellite GPS guided bomb, because we don't want civilian casualties. But the fact is we developed that weapon because sometimes we do have to put a bomb through a very small opening in order to blow up the bunker underneath. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
How many mosques did we blow up?
I don't know.
It's because we don't.
Well, I don't know. What did Manning? What was Manning's name? Chelsea Manning now. Mm-hmm. I think, I could be wrong about this, but somebody leaked the information how the U.S. mowed down civilians in the helicopters, how our helicopters fired on civilians. Mm-hmm. And they leaked that information, and I think it was Chelsea Manning. I could be wrong. And of course, that created a huge, controversy because we fired on civilians. We kill civilians all the time.
And then what happened?
We kill civilians all the time.
And then what happens?
Well, probably nothing. We probably gave them a few dollars.
No, what happened? What happened with that instance with Chelsea Manning, with the stuff that was reported?
I don't know. I know that Chelsea Manning ended up going to military prison
for leaking classified information.
Okay.
But still, what happened? What happened with the result of that? Once that was found out.
I don't know that we necessarily changed our habits.
I'm not talking about our habits. I'm saying what happened in those circumstances. Do we prosecute those circumstances?
I don't know all the details, but I do know that we still, hit civilians. And so the fact that we haven't blown up a mosque in particular should not, allow us to go to sleep with a clean conscience at night. At what point we are still dropping 44,000 bombs a year, and at least several of those bombs hit and kill innocent people. That's a problem. And by the way, the stat is specific to bombs. How about Hellfire missiles that are fired from drones? That's also a common occurrence. There's other weapons besides bombs. There's also bullets that are fired by our forces.
Well, a Hellfire missile is still a bomb.
No, it's a missile, actually. AGM-65, various subtypes. It's a missile. It was developed during the Vietnam War, I believe, to strike surface-to-air artillery outside of its range. Mm-hmm. But today it's generally an all-purpose, because it's a relatively accurate laser-guided, missile, air-to-ground missile.
Gotcha.
So it's not air-to-air, as many people think. It's air-to-ground, but whatever.
Gotcha. So a laser-guided missile has propellant.
Yes, okay. Exactly.
Not
Bombs,
necessarily guided.
Free fall.
Got it.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. So, and they made that distinction.
No, but I'm reading it here. It says bombs, and they're not talking about bullets, and they're not talking about missiles.
So they could be including missiles and bombs.
It's pretty hard to confuse those two. I would bet money that they're being specific to bombs here.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Okay, you can be proud to be an American. And
is it okay to be proud to be American?
The whole show beating. Yes, it's great to be American. Remember, America is our homeland. Mm-hmm. This is our home. So I am going to change gears here because I've been pretty much a downer here on the 4th of July. But it's okay to be proud of your home, to be proud of, for example, your family. America's sort of our proverbial mother. It's our motherland, you know. And we could be proud and we can celebrate that, but I want it to be tempered. I want that celebration to be tempered with reason, and I want us to use the occasion to also do some soul searching. It's okay to shoot the fireworks and have a good time, but I really want people to do some soul searching, because the product of that should manifest itself in how you vote and whether or not you're politically active. Are you engaged in your society? You have to remember, it's very easy for me to sit here and pontificate against our government. It's very easy. Donald Trump's an easy target. Congress is an easy target. But at the end of the day...
Politicians in general.
Right? But at the end of the day, how many of us are actually out there in the streets making the community a better place? How many of us are helping our neighbors? How many of us even talk to our neighbors? How many of us are out there? How many of us are volunteering in our community? How many of us are actually doing things to make America truly great? And to me, if we had a society where people were paid decent wages, where we did not have problems with homelessness, where we did not have problems with people who are poor or destitute and so on, if we were doing these things, then to me, if we want to live up to the American ideal, that's what we have to do. If you're a boss, pay your employees a decent wage. That's very patriotic, actually.
I like that. So if you're going to be a patriot, you start with you.
Absolutely. It's
You
how
start
you
with
treat
you,
other people.
be better.
If you want America to be an exceptional country, that means you have to be exceptional as a person. And if you're an exceptional person, and if we're all exceptional people, then that's how we make America an exceptional country.
What do we do with the people who aren't exceptional?
We try to make them exceptional. We try to help people to realize their potential. When a person is lazy, when a person doesn't work, it's because there's something wrong. Usually it's a physical or a mental issue. The person who is suffering from that issue may not even be aware of it. But it is not normal for a healthy human being to be a couch potato. If you want to be a patriotic American, it's very hard to do that on the couch. You can wave a flag on the couch, but what are you really doing to make America a better place? I chastise employers who don't want to pay workers, but what about workers who are lazy? Don't be lazy. America was not built by lazy people. Civilization is not built by the lazy. It's built by the industrious. And if a person is not industrious, it's usually because there's something wrong. And hey, if we fixed up our healthcare system and we allowed people to go and get their feelings checked and get checked out and say, you know what, you have a chemical imbalance in the brain and that's causing depression, that's causing a physical discomfort or chronic pain, whatever it may be, we're going to treat it. It's not going to cost you anything after a few weeks of treatment. Hey, you're going to be healthy. Let's get you back to work. That's what I want to see. That's what's going to make America a great country. How we deal with those people is one way for us to be great.
I wish I could believe that. I believe people have to be pushed to be great. That there are a few who have greatness in them, and that's why they are exceptional. The people who have that greatness in them, who have become something exceptional, that we recognize, we see them in life. They've done this and this, but that is this many people. And I'm afraid that the majority, the vast majority of people need motivation.
Who pushes you? Who pushes Scott?
See, that's the thing is like,
you're pushed.
I'm pushed. No, seriously, I'm pushed. I'm pushed by the, I don't want to say
family.
pressure, but I'm pushed by the pressure of my family, of my home, that I have to provide for them. And there are choices that I made years ago that were, I believe at the time, safer choices than maybe, instead of pushing farther, I made safer choices because I figured it was a better bet because I didn't want to risk what I had.
You're pushed by your faith.
I'm pushed by my faith.
And so you're pushed by God.
Yep. But again, I believe those are outward influences that are pushing me.
And I to be intellectually honest, I'd have to say I'm pushed too. I'm also pushed. So I think I have to agree with you.
But I think there are people that when I see people who, maybe in their life, again, people who are putting in all the extra hours and doing this and hustling and pouring all this time, I don't I don't necessarily want to pour in all that time. Maybe I'm going to get all this money back, but I would rather sit with my kids and play Catan than try to do that extra job and get more money.
Yeah, I'd rather play a real board game with my time.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Joking.
Yeah, he's a board game snob. But what I'm saying is there are people who, and I guess we would call them successful, who are going to push all that. And I don't find that personal motivation. Same thing with fitness. There are some people I don't. But I'm just saying there are some people who they get up and they're like they are motivated to get up and run their 10 miles and run and do all that kind of stuff. And I don't find that. I don't find that internal motivation. It takes something externally to. So I don't believe that I am exceptional in fitness. I don't believe that I'm exceptional in business.
And nobody's going to be exceptional at everything.
Right. But I'm saying is that those people who are exceptional.
I'm exceptional at eating.
I would say those people who are exceptional are the exception. That's why we call them exceptional.
Right.
I believe that the majority of people need an outward motivation, unfortunately.
Okay, and I can agree with that. That doesn't invalidate anything that I think I've argued. And I think as a nation, we can still be exceptional if we all look into ourselves and we find what makes us exceptional. What are we really good at? What are you good at? Mm-hmm. And we basically take these natural talents that we've been given and we invest them in ourselves and in one another. Another Bible reference.
I know, right? I'm just afraid that the more responsibility we take off people and put it onto the government, the less motivates them to do better.
If you want to be a flag-waving, patriotic American, you can't just be a couch potato. You really do have to do what we're suggesting here, I think, and live up to that ideal. Mm-hmm. Because America was literally established on the idea that government is going to kind of stay out of the way, and we're going to let you go to the frontier and steal land from the Native Americans as a result of genocide. And then, build up your business and your family farm or your community and what have you and decide for yourself how you want things to be, And that was kind of the American vision, was that instead of being micromanaged and dictated by a king in England over the sea, you're really just kind of on your own. There's the frontier, have at it.
That was laissez-faire, kind of?
No, laissez-faire was more of a money thing. And it was about how basically the government should not interfere with the economy. But I would call it just simple freedom. Yeah. The idea that the government isn't going to dictate your religion to you. It's not going to dictate your business to you. It's not going to dictate who you transact with. That was done during mercantilism in the 17th century.
Mm-hmm. And now we've gotten to where little kids can't sell lemonade at the corner.
Right? Isn't that insane? But I get the health side of it, but it's a little kid selling lemonade, right?
Right.
Come on.
You're not expecting it to even taste good. You're donating money to the kid.
Donating money and whatever. Yeah.
You're encouraging the.
So we misapply our power as a people and as a nation, even right here in the United States. We get it wrong so much, and we could get it right, but again, it starts with you and me, the individual. So it's okay to be upset with Donald Trump or the government or whatever, but you really should reserve most of your critique, if you will, or most of your, I don't know the right word, you should really reserve most of your energy for yourself.
Make yourself better. When you make yourself better, you will make America great again.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that phrase.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that phrase, make America great again. You just may not agree with how one person is applying that. Mm-hmm. But you being a better person is what's going to make America great again. I don't believe that the government taking care of more things is going to make America great again. I think you as an individual being a better person is going to make America great again.
So I agree with that very much in principle. I would say that there are things the government can do to help. For example,
it thinks it helps. That's what I'm saying.
Socialism for the rich, I think, would go a long way towards helping.
But I'm just saying, there's so many things that you think would help, and I think it causes more problems.
Oh, I don't know. When the government gives away, taxpayer wealth to the rich, simply because they then get kickbacks.
Right. That's something the government is doing. Mm-hmm. You don't want the government to do more. You want the government to do less.
I do want the government to do less.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I want the government to do less in general. The more government does, the more problems it causes.
Well, I want the government to be equipped with a scalpel rather than a broadsword or a sledgehammer.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to apply that scalpel in very specific ways that are designed to, on the one hand,
That are
stay
chosen
out
by
of
the people on your side.
Yeah, well, chosen by the people in
By
general.
the smart people.
No, chosen by all Americans. But I want all Americans to be smart because they all have an education
Yep.
that is a quality education, because we invest money on books instead of Glocks, and we allow people to cast informed votes because they have a media outlet that is informing them, that is not partisan, that is not biased, because they become critical thinkers.
Yeah.
And they can make informed decisions, and they understand the ideals upon which this nation was founded. And when you have all of those things kind of in a row, then people should cast informed votes. Now, there will still be differences. Scott, you are an educated, intelligent person, and you are going to have some fundamental disagreements from me, but I can absolutely live with it. I can live with you voting for a candidate on the opposite. You know, I might vote Democrat, or I might vote, something on the left. You might vote on the right. I can live with that difference because I know and I believe that difference is reasoned.
Yep.
That you have a reason for that. You're not just reacting. You're not voting for who's going to give away more free stuff, and you're not voting for because somebody, says it like it is.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
You're voting because this politician has a principled and informed stance on an issue that I care about, and I support that issue. So therefore, I'm going to vote in this way. I can respect that even if I disagree with it.
Okay. Cool.
So that's how you make America great.
Making America Great, one person at a time, right here on A Valid Answer, kerncast.com, every Sunday night at 5 with Scott and Marshall, a pastor and an atheist, getting together and making America great again.
We are.
All right.
One
Catch us again.
podcast at a time.
One podcast at a time. This was our 17th episode. Continue to follow us. You can find us on iTunes. You can email us at validanswer@gmail.com. And until next time, this has been A Valid Answer. We'll see you next Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Stay safe and enjoy your holiday.
Happy holidays.